Firstly, it's an honor to be here, and I'd like to thank, can you hear me? I'd like to thank InMinds as well as Igor and Nelly and the entire team for this opportunity. We talked about the smart city and a lot of fintech. What I'll be focusing on is health tech. And it's one part of smart that I feel is not often talked about. And the end use case that we're going to be talking about are clinical trials. Now, basically, all of us here are either patients today or patients tomorrow, or are basically supporting somebody who's a patient today, or may support somebody who's a patient tomorrow. That is the focus of our end use. And the reason why we have done that is partly because, and I'm here to talk a little bit about it because I have been fortunate to have worked in the pharma industry for almost 28 years. And a big chunk of my time, whether it was working for Novartis as the CFO in Canada or in Russia, or heading the clinical development finance function, basically meant I could look at issues both strategically and tactically. And I also teach blockchain at an MBA course in New Jersey. And that has given me a perspective that has helped to develop our product. So in our hypothesis is the pharma industry is going through a big deal of challenges. And the challenges are that there's falling R&D productivity. In addition, this is causing also a decrease in the growth rate of sales, which in addition is showing that the top line of sales is also decreasing because of increased competition. And that in turn leads to a situation where you can spend less on R&D. It's a bit of a vicious circle. And we've got to break out of it. And the only way we can break out of it is by looking at new technology. In addition, there are issues of data integrity. There have been issues of basically malware and ransomware attacks. So the only way you can kind of bring and string this together is by looking at blockchain technology is our thesis. So we believe that blockchain is superior to existing technologies for 5 or 6 reasons. One is it integrates silos. It is immutable, which basically means data once recorded can never be taken away, which basically means that if a regulator like the EMA were to ask what happened in this trial 20 years from now, that data is available. It is distributed, which would basically mean on a real-time basis we can get the data. And there's cryptography and individualization, which you know is very normal in this area. So what we have done is, rather than boil the ocean, as we may say, not looking at the entire cycle, we're going to be talking in our end use case basically about the visits. So what happens is that in a clinical trial, you're testing a drug, and the drug is tested very often in a clinic. And it is that systems that we built our end use case around. We think that there are 4 or 5 pain points today. There are siloed systems, there's data issues, there's delay in data, and worse, doctors and patients get paid very late. And there are multiple intermediaries. So automatically it might lend itself to a solution. The other challenge is that today the industry spends almost $100 billion a year in clinical trials. So there are a number of players in this area spending almost $8 billion, and every day it's about $8 million. So we have built a system that addresses all these pain points. Integrated blockchain, a new proprietary way which is continuous clinical trial accounting, peer-to-peer payments, and smart contracts-driven automation. The intent is that we can give an integrated system. We are able to give the distributed data. We give the patient activity and financial data in real time. And finally, this is focused for life science companies who are doing clinical trials. Our goal really is that these trials are very expensive because of all these delays. We think blockchain technology is the solution to it. And how we have done it is, in our end use is, We have created an iPad-based solution which builds the blockchain. We then have built a proprietary financial module on top of it. And for that, we're giving a point-of-care solution that meets regulatory needs, automates processes, minimizes intermediaries, and basically makes things run faster. Our goal really is to cut, if maybe build a Moore's law around it, but basically to accelerate trials and cut costs. And we think if this is an industry that is spending so much, it can work. We are right now doing a diabetes trial with 150 patients. Normally 150 patients would take about 3 months for that clinic and that physicians to get. In 3 days, we've already got 40 patients on our system, and that's already moving much faster. And we feel we should be able to get that whole thing done in 3 weeks, which basically means that the physicians get more time to be with their patients and to do more and more efficient things. That basically is what we have done as our end use case in health tech, using blockchains and iPads to deliver a solution for patients and for life science companies. Thank you.